A deadly shooting here in New York City that killed a police officer and critically wounded another during a domestic dispute call. Since the beginning of the new year, 5 officers have been shot, and that's just part of the violence seen since the new mayor took office. And he's now asking for help. ABC's Phil Lipoff has more.
This morning, a call for federal help from the nation's largest city.
We're doing our job in NYPD. How do we stop this if the federal government does not stop the flow of guns in this city?
Mayor Eric Adams likening the escalating gun violence to another crisis in his city.
We need to collaborate with city, state, and federal entities the way we did during 9/11 to fight terrorism. We have to fight the crimes on our street.
That plea coming just a day after the NYPD lost one of its own. Police say 3 officers responded to a domestic violence call in Harlem when 47-year-old LaShawn McNeil, who had been fighting with his mom, refused to come out of a back room. NYPD officer Jason Rivera approached. Police say McNeil opened fire. Rivera, just 22 years old, was killed. His partner, 27-year-old Wilbert Mora, shot in the back of the head and remains in critical condition. The third officer, also a rookie, returned fire, hitting McNeil, who's now hospitalized. Officers say they recovered the gun that they believe McNeil used to shoot at them. This Glock with a high-capacity magazine that could hold up to 40 rounds. The gun allegedly stolen from Baltimore in 2017.
That particular gun, there's no other reason why he has one than to commit a crime.
According to police sources, McNeil is believed to have behavioral problems and posted anti-government and anti-police material on social media. Rivera and Mora are the 4th and 5th officers in New York City shot in the line of duty in the first 3 weeks of the year, according to police. In an essay given to his commander in 2020 called Why I Became a Police Officer, Rivera wrote, "I know that something as small as helping a tourist with directions or helping a couple resolve an issue will put a smile on someone's face." Such a tragic loss. Mayor Adams makes the point that there are no gun manufacturers in New York City, yet there are so many guns. That's why he says he needs the federal government's help to stop the flow of those illegal guns into the city. Eva?
Phil, thank you for that. And joining us now is New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Let's start with that help that you've asked for from the federal government. Help in fighting crime and stemming the flow of illegal guns into the city. The NYPD is one of the most well-funded police departments in the country. What exactly are you hoping that the federal government can help accomplish?
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on to discuss this important topic. And later this week, I'm going to roll out my plan to deal with the underlying reasons that we're facing such a surge of violence in our cities and cities across America. Number one, the role of the federal government. The police department is doing their job, taking thousands of guns off the streets. Yet each time you take a gun off, there's a constant flow of new guns coming here. And if we don't coordinate to go after those gun dealers that are supplying the large cities in America, such as New York, we are losing the battle, and the federal government must step in and play a role in doing so.
What do you say to the New Yorkers and people who want to visit New York who may be looking at the events of the past few weeks and they say they're afraid? The recent crimes are very upsetting. There was that horrific subway death, a woman pushed in front of a train that really touched a nerve for many about the rising crime. And then just 4 days later, a baby was hit by a stray bullet. I mean, what do you say to those who are so anxious about what's going on right now?
The same thing I told the mother when her 11-month-old baby was shot in the Bronx. We must come together to resolve these problems. And later this week, when I roll out my plan, we're going to look at how do we, number one, do precision policing to identify those who are trigger pullers. We know who the shooters are in this city, and we need to go after them. But we also need precision prosecution and precision resources. We're dealing with a city that is feeding the many rivers of crime that feeds the sea of crime. Those rivers include an educational system that has failed children for years. It also includes the fact that COVID has devastated our city. We have laws that are not facing the reality of what's taking place on the ground. And it's imperative that our city, state, and federal government coordinate together as we did during the terrorist attack on our soil.
You campaigned largely on this platform of public safety, but when you look at the things that have happened in the first few weeks as mayor, we've seen those rising crime rates across the city. We keep talking about crime. So many people don't even feel safe taking the subways in New York anymore. Shootings in the boroughs were up by 16% this year through January 16th compared to the same time last year, according to NYPD statistics. Are you concerned about what this trend could suggest for your tenure as mayor? And are these problems that can be solved quickly?
We must solve them quickly, because every life that's lost is a life that is traumatic for not only the individual, but the entire city. And that is the plan we're going to roll out this week, with a very clear understanding of dealing with the underlying reasons that we're seeing an increase in crime. If you don't properly define what is happening on the ground, you cannot execute a real plan to carry it out. It has been 3 weeks in my administration. We're going to roll out a smart way of policing, putting in place again a modified version of a plainclothes anti-gun unit that's going to go after those known shooters and people who are actually creating the devastation in our city. But if you continue to have the flow of guns to big city, you're going to constantly fight this battle. But we're also going to go after our subway system. We're going to put mental health professionals and law enforcement partnering together to remove those who are disorderly in the system, give them the resources they need. But we're not going to have a subway system that, excuse me, commuters are going to be in an unsafe environment. That is unacceptable, and that is why we're going to target this head on and resolve this problem.
So many people waiting to see and watching to see exactly what happens as this continues to play out here in our city. Mayor Eric Adams, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.